Hi everyone, Hervin here, and in this video I want to share with you one skill that I have found extremely useful. This one skill has allowed me to improve both in the areas of conflict resolution and sales. This one skill has allowed me to become a better salesperson, has allowed me to make more sales in our business. And I think both of those areas, conflict resolution and sales, are really important when it comes to achieving success. At least they're really important for me, but I was not naturally gifted at them. And then everything changed for me when I learned this one skill. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it truly was a game changer, which is why I wanted to make this video. So the skill set that I am talking about is called labeling. Now, if you've never heard of labeling, I found out about this skill by reading the book Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And this is an amazing book. There's so much wisdom, useful tips that you can apply not just in business, but in your just overall in your life. And when I read the passage about labeling, that stuck out to me. I don't know, for whatever reason, it truly resonated with me. And after I've practiced this one skill set, it's just been a game changer. Again, I've gotten better at conflict resolution and sales. Now, let's break it down here in this video. What is labeling? What is the premise? So let's start there. The whole premise behind labeling is this. Before people are willing to listen to you, they have to feel like you understand them. I read this in the book, 7 Habits by Highly Effective People. One of the habits is seek to understand before you seek to be understood. So whenever you're dealing with confrontation or conflict, or you're trying to make sales, the common thing here is that you're trying to get through to somebody. When it comes to conflict resolution, sometimes you might feel like somebody's arguing with you and they're wrong, and you're trying to convince them that what you're saying is right. Or when it comes to sales, you're trying to convince somebody that your product is the right one. So you're trying to get, in both of these scenarios, you're trying to get through to somebody and help them see that what you're saying is the right thing, or what you're saying is right. And with this skill set, you are able to do that. You're able to get through to people. Now, not in a forceful way. Let me explain how. So let me give you an example. You have somebody, let's say you're in a scenario where it's conflict related. So you have somebody like your spouse, maybe they're telling you, you always come home late. And in your mind, you're like, I understand what they're saying, but like, I need to stay at my work because that's when the clients are there and my boss was telling me and something else. And so you start telling them like, yeah, but I understand, but I had to stay there because of my boss, and then my clients were there, and I was making calls and blah, blah, blah. And you're trying to convince them that they're wrong. Like, it's not like you're trying to come home late. It's just like all of these things. And then you're trying to make them see it your way. And then it just escalates and it doesn't go anywhere. When it comes to conflict, that's how I tend to deal with conflict. If I have somebody arguing with me and I see that what they're saying is wrong, in my mind, I may understand what they're saying and I may understand like why they're saying it, but I in my mind, I'm like, no, that's wrong, and here's why, and I try to convince them logically. So then I start giving them arguments and logical reasons as to why what they're saying is wrong. And my hope is that if I talk enough and I give enough logical reasons, that eventually they'll come to the conclusion, they'll realize that they were wrong, and they're just gonna know that I am right. And that never works, but that is always kind of like what the strategy is for me. And now that I know this skill, I try and practice it. I try to practice labeling. So let me explain labeling in this situation, and then we'll jump over to sales. So when it comes to labeling and dealing with conflict, again, somebody tells you something, you feel that they're wrong. In your mind, you're like, I understand why they're saying it, but they're wrong. Here's why you're wrong. And you start giving them logical reasons. When you start trying to convince somebody, trying to get them to understand your way before them feeling like you understand them, what that does is it makes them put their guard up and makes them just put their shield up, and they're not listening to you. They might get defensive. It might actually escalate and turn into insults and things like that. So the reason why things escalate is because the other person doesn't feel understood. In fact, if you've ever heard of this, when somebody is yelling in an argument, it's because they don't feel heard. So if you have somebody yelling at you, it's because they don't feel like you understand them. So how do you get somebody to feel understood so that they open up to what your suggestions are? And the answer is to label. So let me explain how labeling works. So say somebody tells you, you're always coming home late. The label here, I'll just give it to you and then I'll talk about what it is, because it's kind of, I don't know, I don't have a word to exactly define it. So the label is, it sounds like you really want me to spend time with you, or it sounds like you're feeling that I am not spending enough time with you, or it sounds like you're feeling taken for granted. And so that person is going to feel like you understand them. But let me just explain here what a label is. So label is where you're kind of verbalizing out loud what they're feeling or what they're thinking, and you're using the words it sounds like, it feels like, it seems like before you say what you say. So like, for example, in that case, you always come home late. You're going to think, why are they saying that? So they could be saying that because they feel like they're being taken for granted, right? So then you're going to say, it sounds like you feel like you're being taken for granted. And if that's the case, that person is going to say, yes, that's true, that's right. In the book, Never Split the Difference, they say that the goal of the label is to get somebody to say that's right. And why is that? Because that's how people express that they feel understood. If I were to say to that person who's telling me like, you always come home late, and I say, hey, it sounds like you're feeling being taken for granted. If that is what they're feeling, they're gonna agree. They're gonna say, yeah, that's right. And now they're gonna be open instead of fighting you back, because there is no fight. They know you understand them, right? They may not initially come down, but they're going to feel like you understand them. And that's the key. You want to get people to first feel understood before they're open to understanding you. So again, you need to verbalize what they're thinking. And in the book, they warn against using the word I, because you want to make the person feel like you're understanding them. It's not about you. So it's not what I'm hearing you say is that you feel taken for granted. That person is going to get defensive and is going to say, yes, you always take me for granted and blah, blah, blah. So instead of saying that, you say, it sounds like you're feeling like I'm taking you for granted. It sounds like you're feeling like you're being taken for granted, right? Both of those could work. Because I'm not including myself in it, what I'm hearing is that you, right? That sounds like an accusation, and it only escalates things. So don't use the word I. Anyway, so that is what a label is. You're verbalizing somebody else's thought. Let me give you another example, something that happened to me. I was playing pickleball, and in pickleball, okay, so it's kind of like if you've never played pickleball, although it's growing so much, I'll just say it. Like when you're playing pickleball, the ball comes and it hits the line like that. So then it's up to you to say the ball was in or the ball was out. If it was in, it may be a point for the other people, which is what they want. If it was out, maybe a point for you, which is what you want. So I kept calling these balls in or out, and the other person, the people that I was playing against, they didn't like the calls that I was making. They felt like they were unfair. They thought that I was cheating. And they just, at some point, they got really angry and they started like yelling at me, saying like, hey, you're calling these line shots, you're calling them wrong. And you're like, and then they started telling my partner like, hey, tell your partner that he's calling these things wrong and he's cheating and so on. And so anyway, at that point, I actually remembered to use the label, because so it's a skill set that you got to practice. I remembered to use the label, and I went to the person and I said, hey, it seems like you're thinking that I'm doing this on purpose. And it seems like you're thinking that I want to cheat and that I want to get some free points, or that I am doing this to antagonize you. At that moment, what do you think he said? He was like he calmed down and he's like, yeah, well, but I could see that he started to come down. He's like, yeah, you should be calling these lines faster and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, it sounds like you're thinking I'm calling them really slow, and that you're thinking that I'm doing this on purpose to slow down the game or to cheat. At some point, after saying enough of this, he eventually comes down and he's just like, no, don't worry about it, man. Let's just play. And he just calms down. I was able to get him from angry and frustrated, and I could have escalated the situation and said like, yeah, I understand like that you're thinking that I'm calling them, but I'm just doing this because this is what is right and this is what is fair, and I'm seeing them and blah, blah, blah. And I would have tried to convince him why I'm calling them. He wouldn't have had it. So when I used the label, that helped him calm down, because he felt that I was understanding him. Like he felt like I heard him out. It takes a lot of skill and patience. It takes a lot of patience to do these things, but it truly works. It's like a shortcut to making people feel understood. Here's another example. In sales, you're trying to sell somebody. So like, for example, another real example. So I sell marketing services. So in our company, we sell marketing services. People come to me and they're like, I feel like my business is not where I wanted to be. I feel like we're not getting enough people that we should be getting. I feel like, I have a lot of competitors and they're growing, but we aren't growing at the same level that we used to in the past. And I don't know what's going on. I may realize that they just need to do Facebook advertisement to generate more leads. And that's what has been working for all of our clients. And so I might try to logically convince them. So I would say something like, what I think we should do is you should do Facebook ads, and I think you should do them, and then you're going to set them up this way. And I think that's going to help you attract a lot of leads, and that's going to help you grow to where you want. And that person might feel like, whoa, like I don't want Facebook ads. Like that's not what I wanted. That's not what I'm telling you. In my mind, I was thinking like, I understand why they're saying that. They're saying that because they're not generating enough leads. They're saying that because they don't have any marketing and they don't know that Facebook ads is the way to generate more leads. So that's why I'm offering it to them, and they're resisting it. So why? It's because they did not feel heard. They did not feel understood. So now let's use the label in this scenario. So again, I am trying to verbalize what they're thinking using the words, it sounds like, it feels like, it seems like. So it goes like this. So the person is like, hey, my business is not where I want to be. I'm not growing as much as I would like. We've stagnated and I don't know what's going on. My numbers were not the same. In the past, I used to be bigger and now we're smaller. Like, I don't know what's going on. So in this case, the label that I would use would be something like this, like, hey, it sounds like you're just not getting enough lead. It sounds like you're not getting enough people who are interested. You're not getting in front of enough people. When I say that, they're going to say like, yeah, that's right. Yes, I need to get in front of more people. At that point, because they feel understood, they're going to be more receptive to whatever I say. So then I'm going to say like, because it sounds like you're needing more people, to get in front of more people, what we have found work really well are Facebook ads. And they're either going to be like, oh yeah, I definitely need Facebook ads, or yeah, that's a good idea, or no, we tried Facebook ads and that didn't work. At that point, I am going to use another label and say like, oh, got it. Okay, so it sounds like you tried Facebook ads, but it didn't work. Yeah, no, I tried them and it didn't work. Okay, got it. It sounds like they may have been set up wrong. And they're going to be like, well, yeah, maybe. And now they're going to be open. But using these labels, because I'm getting people to feel like I'm hearing them out, they're more open to suggestion. So again, this skill set, it takes practice, it takes discipline. Like with the guy who I was playing pickleball with, when he started yelling about why I was making the bad calls and like calling the balls that he thought were in, I was calling them out, and he started getting angry and started yelling. The key here with this skill is that you need to be calm yourself. Like you need to somehow find the inner peace and the patience to calm down and then deliver the label in a calm way. So you gotta, when I spoke to that guy, I said, so he was yelling, and I said it in a calm tone of voice. I said, hey man, it sounds like you're thinking I'm doing this on purpose and I'm trying to cheat. When I say that, I immediately like took the conflict levels down. I was able to calm down the situation. Now, at times that takes a lot of discipline. Like sometimes you may get heated up and you may start trying to argue back. And that's when things, they just get out of hand. So it does take discipline. So when it comes to practicing labels, or when it comes to using labels, this is something that you need to practice. So I'll tell you what I have done. After I read the book, Never Split the Difference, and I learned about labels, I actually started practicing everywhere. So anytime I go to the supermarket and I see the lady in the cash register and she's smiling or she seems tired, I'll say that. I'll try to verbalize whatever she's thinking. So I'm like, hey, it looks like you're having fun. It looks like you're really enjoying your work. Or, hey, it seems like you're really enjoying your work. Or it seems like you're having a great day. Or it seems like you're really enjoying being here. Or something like that. Like something, I'll try to say, it seems like, it looks like, it sounds like, something positive attached to that. And then they'll say like, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And then they feel... It's not like they feel understood because we're trying to get people to understand them, but they do feel like you understood them. If somebody seems tired, like, hey, it seems like you're ready to get out of here, or it seems like you've had a long day. They're going to be like, yeah, I've had a long day. They're going to feel understood. I try and practice labels everywhere. So for me, for example, when I am on an Uber drive, so whenever I order an Uber, I try to practice it there, because usually you get somebody who's talkative, or maybe you don't, and I usually try and get them to open up just for fun, for me as a game. So I'll use labels. So I'll ask the person first, hey, how long have you been driving for today? And they'll say like, oh, I started way early. And I'll say something like, oh, okay. I'll say, it seems like you're taking your driving seriously. It seems like you're trying to make some money. And they're like, yeah, I've been trying to work and I need some extra cash. It's like, oh, I got it. So it sounds like you have these financial goals. And they'll say like, yeah, I've been trying to save up some money to buy this house for my mom. And it's like, hey, it seems like you really care about your mom. Yeah, man, we moved over here. And then I just keep doing that, where I say, it sounds like, it looks like, and I try to verbalize what they're thinking. People don't catch on to it. It's crazy. But I've gotten people to talk like that without saying much. And for me, that, like, when it comes to sales, that's literally the perfect sale, is like when I don't try and sell anything that I do. Instead, they just convince themselves. So when I say to somebody who's like, I'm not growing as fast as I should, I say like, got it. Okay. So it sounds like you need more leads. They're like, yeah, I need more leads. And it's like, yeah, it sounds like you're just not getting in front of the right people, and you're not getting in front of enough people. They say like, yeah, I definitely need to get in front of more people. This is something like we just haven't had the time to do. It's like, got it. Okay. It just seems like you're just busy, but you need more people. And they're like, yeah, I've been super busy over here. And and it's like, and then I would say, yeah, it just feels like you need to market more. They're like, yeah, I definitely need to market. And then after a while, they just keep saying that, and they just keep justifying why they need my product. And I'm like, yeah, just like, it sounds like you need marketing. It sounds like you need to get in front of more people. We help with this. We have a system for helping you generate leads. And they're like, oh yeah. And now they're open. Now they're ready. They're more receptive. Whereas if I would have said like, hey, it sounds like, hey, I want to sell you marketing, they would have had their guards up, because they would have felt like you don't understand them. So anyway, that is the skill of labeling. I think that it is a super powerful skill. Like I said, I'm not exaggerating. It's been truly game changer. When I first learned this skill, it's helped me tremendously, both in conflict resolution, when it comes to sales. It has helped me make a lot more sales because of this skill set. Highly recommend reading the book, Never Split the Difference. And yeah, if you enjoy this video, leave it a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you took anything away from this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.